For more insight on this serious pollution problem in China, I spoke to Paul Bledsoe, president of Bledsoe Associates, and I asked him how successful are China's efforts to shut down factories to reduce the air pollution.
Well, I think the government is finally serious about cutting overcapacity, particularly in a few sectors, the very small coal-fired power plants, which are incredibly dirty, the smaller brick kilns. These are not very productive economic enterprises in any event, and yet they account for a massive amount of pollution.
Strategy of closing down the dirty plants and opening up the clean ones, how successful has that been in cutting pollution?
I think the reinvestment in cleaner, more efficient plants is absolutely critical if China is going to clean up its air quality problem. I think actually what we may need is a new green stimulus, and this one focused specifically at air quality issues. I think there's a big economic opportunity there. The truth is that many of these older dirty plants just aren't really very competitive in any event. They're just kind of running on inertia. And so I think that you can see very quick results from investment in new, cleaner, more efficient capacity. And I think that's the way it has to be talked about and contextualized.
There is resistance from some of the smaller players out there to say that if you shut down my plant, number one, there are workers that will be unemployed. Number two, it affects, of course, their individual business as well. What can or should the government do in terms of rectifying that?
I think this is where reinvestment is critical. I think we need a new generation of investment in industrial capacity that is ultra efficient, ultra clean, and ultra competitive. We can't just shut down plants and not replace them. And so I think there's actually a very large opportunity for the Chinese economy to become more efficient and more productive and cleaner at the same time. I also might note there are going to be huge climate change benefits from all of this investment, and that's going to be increasingly important to China's standing on the international stage as we move toward the UN FCCC negotiations on climate leading to an agreement in Paris next year.
When you look back at the last couple of decades and how those countries dealt with pollution, are there some lessons that can be learned that perhaps what they did right and maybe what they did that could have been better?
I actually think that the Chinese can leapfrog the kind of development pattern that characterized Europe and the United States. The truth is, we did it very expensively and slowly. And I think China can begin to make large investments in the most efficient technologies that are 10 times more efficient and 100 times less polluting than the technologies that the United States adopted, say, in the 1960s and 70s.
How long does it take in a natural environment for example, those agricultural fields to clean itself up?
Mother Nature is remarkable. It cleans up incredibly quickly. If China will begin to shut down the worst actors, move to cleaner sources, and become more efficient, the air quality problems we're experiencing in Beijing can be a thing of the past within a decade. This can happen very quickly. It has in other nations around the world, and there's no reason China can't get a hold of this problem. And in the meantime, becoming, I think, a shining example of energy efficiency, new investment, and climate change responsibility. It's a remarkable business and national economic opportunity.
That was Paul Bledsoe, president of Bledsoe Associates.